watching Gearz.
You know, most people realize that there's a lot that goes into building your own vehicle. There's engine and drivetrain, there's chassis and suspension, there's the interior, and on and on. But one of the most difficult and time-consuming is doing your own paint and body work. And that's so intimidating that most people don't even want to mess with it, and they take their pride and joy, ship it off to somebody else and have them do it. And what they get back, sometimes is good, sometimes it ain't so good. That's why you need to know how to do your own paint and body work. But the question is, wouldn't it be nice if there was another option to painting your car? Well, there is. It's called a vinyl wrap. Now, since the creation of the truck, people have been putting names and logos on the side of them to tout their business or promote an attitude. The problem with paint, though, it's expensive to put on and hard to remove if it needs to be changed. So it wasn't long before people started slapping decals and stickers on their vehicles. And soon, even the manufacturers began selling custom decals and stripe kits. Unfortunately, because of the materials used, those early decals and stickers didn't last very long, and people ended up driving around with cracked, faded, and peeling material hanging off their fenders and hoods. When the vinyl wrap appeared, it changed the world of decals and stickers forever because it was extremely durable, bonded well to virtually any surface, and could still be peeled off fairly easily if you wanted to change it. And all of a sudden, people weren't just putting decals on cars and trucks anymore, they began wrapping their whole vehicle instead of painting it.
To actually wrap a truck with a full color graphic in the early days, it cost over $100,000 before you even started. So back then you had to do separations of screens. They got screen printed. Each panel had to be printed separately. It was a long process. So to do a fleet of, let's say, 200, it might cost you $500,000. Well, today I can do one trailer and it will only cost me a couple $1,000 because I do the artwork online, I do it on my computer, I print it out to piezo inkjet technology, put a clear protective clear coat or laminate on it, and with the self-adhesive technology, I can apply that and do one truck, one van, one car.
In 2004, we started a line of printers called Color Painter line. It's still the line of printers that we sell today. And it was really a kind of a ground mover at that time. It was a very, very fast printer compared to all the other printers that are available in the market at that time. But more importantly, had an incredibly durable ink set. And so for jobs like, vehicle wraps and fleet graphics and anything outdoor graphics related, it was really the ink set to go to because it was so durable outdoors.
We can make pretty much any color you want in a solid color film. You give us a small sample, you tell me a Pantone color number, you give me a chip of paint, I can take that and we can match that and we can make something for you. So it's really about how do we take things to the next level and make people really want to embrace the technology.
Well, the products we're using today are far superior to what we were using before. Between the standoff features, the adhesive technology, the ability for the air to release out from underneath the media. We don't use, in most cases, we're not using any application fluids whatsoever. Today, it's revolutionized the way we do decals. Consequently, everybody's doing it.
And that means that some of the wraps and graphics you'll see on rigs today will rival any paint job you can imagine.
The girl on the door, the weathered aluminum panels, the rivets with and having hydraulic fluid dripping from it, the whole 9 yards. Now I can do stuff that I could only dream of before. And so I didn't really have to buck a current. I actually was just doing my own thing. The perfect compliment is them putting their hand out to touch it. They don't have to say anything. As long as I can see you reaching out to see if you can feel the edge of the paint, see if it's cleared or not, thank you.
Now, if you think that wraps are just big, cheap stickers that people are slapping on junkers nobody cares about, well, think again, because these are the very best from Porsche, Ferrari, Maserati, and Bugatti, all wearing wraps and looking great. But there's still some questions that people have about the wrapping process. Things like, how do you put it on, and how long is it going to last, and is it really that good? Well, hopefully we're going to answer some of those questions for you today as we put a wrap on the Jolly Green Giant here.
Yeah, boy!
Not that kind of wrap.
A successful automotive project takes planning and organization, but instead of using an old tablet or notebook, there's the Gearz Project Planning Book. This unique workbook was designed to help you lay out a project, the parts, the tools, and the cost, so you can stay on track. It even has places to attach photos and document your progress to keep you motivated. And if you ever decide to sell the vehicle, it serves as a complete history of what's been done. If you're in the middle of an automotive project or thinking of starting one, the Gearz Project Planning Book is the best way to lay it out and make it happen.
Hey, welcome back to Gearz as we prepare to lay a vinyl wrap on our big green machine here.
We need a longer tape. I think we might.
Now, the first step was to take extensive measurements of the surface to be wrapped, so Ape Wraps could lay out a full dimensional map of the area. Then, working with their designer, we were able to come up with a color scheme and graphic that was what I had in mind for this vehicle. And this is where you can really get creative, because there are hundreds of different colors and options that can be printed on the vinyl.
When it comes to design, I need to know the flavor, what you're after, whether it's a guy or a gal. You know, do we want tribal flames? Do we want a 49 Merc look? What style of flames are we into? So I've got to determine what kind of gas you're burning.
Once the design and color is decided, the guys at Ape Wraps fire up the printer and make the wrap. And hope that all the measurements and dimensions were right, because there's no turning back from here. Now, installing the wrap is fairly straightforward, but there are some things you have to do if you want it to stick properly. First, the vehicle needs to be washed well and any oxidation, oil, or wax removed from the surface. One of the best ways to do that is to wipe it down with alcohol. Also, a sanded or rough surface won't give you the best adhesion. What you want is a smooth, shiny, squeaky clean surface. Next, you need to pull off all the trim, because even though you can cut the wrap around the trim pieces, she's all yours. It makes it much cleaner and easier to install if you can remove as many obstructions as possible.
Dictated.
After that, you're ready to wrap.
Let me just mess with this for a minute just to make sure it's exactly where I wanted it.
And the first step is to mock all the pieces in place to check the fit and how it's going to lay on the vehicle. If anything's not right or not lining up properly, now is the time to fix it.
Like this, like I'm holding it?
Yeah.
And start walking, brother.
Oh, okay. Once that's done, you're ready to pull the backing off and start laying the wrap on.
Slowing down right towards the end, my friend. Come on, keep going, keep going, keep going. All the way off, go ahead, out of here. And then we always make it go away because there's so much static locked up in it.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll just jerk it right up on the car.
Now, this is definitely a multi-person job because somebody needs to squeegee and smooth the wrap onto the surface, while the others pull and stretch the wrap to make sure it's laying straight and removing the wrinkles. The good thing about a wrap is if you get air bubbles or wrinkles in it, you just pull it up and do it again, as this stuff is extremely flexible and durable to work with. How flexible, you ask? Check this out. Troy comes in with a big right hand and proceeds to stretch the middle of the piece of the wrap a seemingly ridiculous amount, creating a big flabby mess in the middle. It looks like a lost cause, but by warming the wrap with a flame, it shrinks all the way back to its original size. It's incredible. Try doing that with paint.
Well, that ain't bad.
No way.
Yeah.
It's this incredible resiliency and flexibility that allows you to form a wrap around extremely complex shapes, corners, even rivets.
Still got it?
Yeah.
Going. Gone. Okay, it's all wrapped.
When Stacey David makes house calls in the big Gearz Nation truck, it makes for some pretty special moments. But if they can't come to your garage, the next best thing to do is check out the stuff they have online to help you out. Things like DVDs, wiring and build books, apparel and fender covers are just some of the things you'll find to help you with your project or make a great gift for that certain car nut in your life. If you're ready to get out there, build something, and then go smoke the tires on it, StaceyDavid.com can help you do that.
Hey, welcome back to Gearz, where we have teamed up with Ape Wraps to completely change the look of this bright green former emergency truck into a flat black beast that we can make house calls in. The amazing thing is, changing the color and adding these incredible graphics will only take you a couple of days with a wrap.
Still got it? Going. Gone. Okay, it's all wrapped.
Now, while the boys are wrapping, we're going to deal with another area that needs some attention, and that is the trim. Now, just like a paint job, you don't want to put old nasty trim on a nicely wrapped vehicle. Now, even though this truck's in good shape, a lot of this trim isn't. Take a look here. This is the emergency lights that came off of this thing, and as you can see, a lot of those are rusted clear through. Fortunately, we're not going to reuse all this because it's not an emergency vehicle anymore. So what we're going to do is find the best ones we've got and restore those for taillights, and then the rest will just be used as spares.
Now, quick tip. Brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs. Born to burn.
When you're dealing with old lights and brackets, one thing that's always shot is the gasket that seals around the base. And since the parts are usually old, finding a new gasket virtually impossible. So what do? Well, before you grab a tube of silicone and just make a big gooey mess, why don't you make your own gasket? Here's how. Just go down to your local auto parts store and buy some gasket material. And then using what's left of your old gasket, draw out a new one on the material and cut it out. Now, set the gasket on a metal surface, take an appropriately sized socket, center it over where the holes need to be, and tap it with a hammer. This leaves you with a perfectly round hole for the screws to go through and a brand new gasket and no gooey mess to deal with. If you'd like to learn more tips to make your life easier in the shop, check out the tips page on the website. With the majority of the truck wrapped, it was time to move on to the front. And this is where things can get a little tedious, because there's a lot of obstacles and openings to go around, like lights and grills and other things. But it's nothing that a little extra time won't handle. Another amazing thing about using a vinyl wrap is your ability to blend the lines of the cuts.
Got them both.
By using a special filament tape, it allows you to make exact cuts in the vinyl, giving you a perfect seam line to match up.
If you've got a cool project and would like to show millions of other gearheads what you're working on, you need to join Gearz Nation. This is a free, interactive online community of auto enthusiasts that will allow you to learn from, share with, and encourage others, and at the same time, show off your project. There are also premium memberships available for access to special merchandise and the entire Gearz catalog. If you're into mechanical things, you're welcome on Gearz Nation. And who knows, you might even see your project on TV.
Hey, we're back. And if you're just getting here, oh, you have missed a lot, because we have taken what was once a bright green emergency vehicle and completely changed the look of it with a custom wrap. Now, as you can see, we're in the process of putting on some of the trim and cleaning that up. And there is one other thing we need to do to finish up this wrap. Notice that there's some areas where you're seeing some green paint still showing, like up along the top, down on these hinges, back here in the wheel wells. That's because as good as a wrap is, there's just some areas you can't get with it. So we need to take some flat black paint, make that disappear. We'll do the same with the mirror brackets. The external spotlights. And the hinges to make sure everything matches and looks good on the rig. Another area that needed some help on this truck was the grille. It was covered with a bunch of chrome strips and emergency lights, which we don't need anymore. So we just took all that junk off of there, and we found that this original grille was in really good shape. Just needed to be cleaned up and detailed some. So we painted it black with silver accents, and now when you put it on the truck, you've got a much cleaner, much better look than we had before. The last thing that needs to go on this truck are these seats because, well, they don't really match anything. They're just red. So I dug through my junk heap out back. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. Oh, there they are. There they are. Oh, man. Covered with mouse poop. And pulled out these old leather checkerboard seats that have been passed around for years looking for a home. And as you can see, they are perfect for this truck. And yet another reason why you should never throw anything away, in spite of what your wife says, because you never know when you're going to need it. Yeah, that'll get you in trouble. Since these are an aftermarket seat with a universal mount, all we have to do is drill some new mounting holes, and these new seats will bolt right in place of those old low back buckets. And there it is, a completely different looking vehicle than what we started out with. All thanks to a vinyl wrap. And the best part is, a vinyl graphic or full-on wrap will make any car or truck look different. And it's something that anybody can install. And all the tools that you're going to need to do it are available from Ape Wraps. So, if you're part of our Gearz Nation on the website and you see this big old beast rolling into your driveway, get ready, because we're gonna check out your project and your tools and your garage and all those parts you got stashed away and those valve covers you've got hidden and your cooler, that pool table, die-cast collection, all that cool stuff.
What are you working on? Brought to you by Air Raid, American-made quality and performance since 1992.
Today's What Are You Working On comes from Galen Horton from Bella Vista, Arkansas, and his project is a 1947 Willys Jeep CJ2A. Now, he said that in 2003 that he was looking for an old flat fender to restore it with his dad, and they found this sitting in a shed where it had been for 10 years. As you can see, that thing is rough. But since that's how you usually find a Jeep, they didn't care. They drug it home and they got it running. So they decided, instead of sticking a V8 in it and making it a rock crawler, they were going to restore it original. So they tore the thing apart completely down to the frame, started sandblasting, rebuilding, restoring. It took them 4 Jeeps to put this thing together. And as you can see, he had a little more help than just from his dad. But finally, in 2010, it was finished. Now, this is where he took another little change here. Most people stick military paint on these. This was a civilian Jeep. So as you can see, he painted it blue and yellow, which are both dealer colors from 1947. Now, of course, the Jeep has the tools, military gauges, all the original equipment. Matter of fact, the whole thing he says is original except for the brake system. And now that the Jeep is finished, he said they just tool around in the woods with it, make some occasional trips down to Sonic for some milkshakes, and he says that it's a treasure trove of memories of him and his dad doing a frame-off restoration. That is great. Some of my best memories are with my dad and a flat fender too. So Galen, awesome project. And to recognize that, we hooked up with our buddies at Air Raid, and we are going to give you an air intake system for whatever you want. All you do is go to their catalog, pick out the part, and they'll ship it to you. Also, we're going to give you a year's subscription to 4-Wheeler Magazine, just in case you ever want to stick a V8 in that Jeep. Also, we're going to set you up with one of our new wiring books so you can figure out some of the wiring stuff that's going to happen on your next project. Now, the rest of you guys, if you want to get involved in this, you got to go to Gearz Nation and become a member, because we pick all of our What Are You Working Ons right off of Gearz Nation. So that gives you even more reasons to show us what kind of cool junk you're working on. All right, that wraps it up for us today. That means you need to get out and start working on something. We'll see you next time.